Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
I'm Trevor Hankins.
I'm Rachel Wells.
I'm Jilly Cannon.
And I'm Jen.
Just Jen. Hi, welcome to On the Air with Power Squared. This week it's our comic book club number 8, and we're doing the comic book called Master Race,
Yes.
which we've all read, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So.
What are we reading? No.
I thought you guys would catch me up. It's a comic from like 1949.
Yeah.
1960. I thought it was 1965.
Yeah.
It says 1955 on the side.
1955.
Well, the
Because
guy
I
was
thought I
saying
saw
that
that
he was.
DC closed like right after.
Well, he was saying that it was done originally in '49, according to the video, and that it sat for a while because he took too much time. Bernie Krigstein took too much time to do it, so it sat, and then they had the comic code came into effect, and that sort of stopped them from putting it out because no one dealt with that kind of stuff at the time. And so when it came out, it was right towards the end of EC, I think.
Yeah.
It came out.
Yeah.
It was a short-lived comic book that it was in. So that's everything I know. Phew. Okay. This all started from a video that Paul saw.
Yes.
The Master Race.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a video I saw that was about like the page that changed comics.
How important it was.
Yeah.
So I thought we should at least look at it and talk about it.
Yeah.
So, what do people think? It's an old-fashioned style. I mean, it looks like something.
Yeah.
It's not hip and cool looking, but it's very. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's a it's an interesting little story, and it sounds like I was telling Paul. It sounds like I've heard the story before, but my guess is it probably came from something like this, and I maybe saw it as a TV, like a Twilight Zone or something. But anyway,
It's probably the oldest and the shortest story we've read on the club so far.
Yes.
try to make it
Yes.
easy.
Yeah. But it's such a fascinating story. I was reading some background on it to prepare for the club.
Okay.
And I know the artist, his name escapes me at the moment.
Bernie
But
Or Krigstein.
Bernie
Krigstein. Yeah.
Krigstein.
Yeah.
Bernard Krigstein.
He kind of had trouble in a lot of his comic making days with editors and creative freedom, but he really valued comics as a storytelling medium, which is highly unusual in his day because it was just kind of the field was largely made of pulp fiction and like kind of what people consider trashy kind of stories,
Yeah.
stuff that like pushed the envelope. But the artist really like valued comics for like being like their own art form rather than just like a form of entertainment. And like you said before, this is considered a comic that really changed what we thought comics were, what their potential could be, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
As far as the story goes, I thought the twist was done really well
Yeah.
Yes.
at the end.
Anybody else have any
Yes.
thoughts?
Be prepared for spoilers. Spoilers for Master Race.
I will say I
It's
did get like
It's 8 pages, so
Yeah.
go read it.
I guess we could even put a link to where
Yeah.
you can read it for free.
Yeah.
But so, anybody have any thoughts beyond that?
I really like the way that it uses repetition a lot, and then the contrast of the situations that were happening in the city and what was happening in the concentration camps,
Mm-hmm.
where you see the cleanliness, um, usually brighter, lighter colors in contrast with the concentration camps or the things that were happening with taking people out of the homes,
Mm-hmm.
where it lots of colors, chaotic or muted, where you could see, people not having a good time.
No,
And
they're being slaughtered. Yes.
yeah, and it's unfortunate that it was kind of constructed with the bubbling of the story, but then I think any longer, and the artist would have taken a lot longer, and you know,
Yeah, supposedly
Yeah.
he like cut up and I guess there was the style of EC Comics was they did the bubbling and then they did the art,
yeah,
and he supposedly kind
And
of cut it up.
At first,
and
by
stuff.
by our modern standard, it seems very wordy, but the standard back in his day was words on basically every panel.
Yeah,
Like someone is always saying something, or the narrator is always proclaiming something. So the fact that the artist managed to get some quiet moments in is pretty revolutionary.
Yeah.
yeah, that he was able to pace everything out within those panels of words each. So yeah, I think that was an interesting way to resolve the problem.
Yeah.
and I like the sort of the how you kind of give the illusion of movement by seeing the same image kind of going like that.
Yeah.
by
The
subway.
subdivision of panels.
Yeah,
Yes.
but you got a sense of something's going by.
Yeah.
It was kind of like for me, like it was like reading a novel. Like not saying like reading novels are bad though. So
Right.
like it was pretty. Read novels too, kids.
But yeah, the use of repetition, and then that repetition meaning how the character was always in this state of mind throughout these 10 years, and just this small moment every day of his life, and finally catching up is like that, the suspense coming up finally, an intense moment of getting out of the train and then running up through the platform, and you see the platform being empty, and you know that he's not gonna make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of foreshadows that something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I sort of like
Yeah,
the guy.
the
at
way
end.
the sorry,
ahead.
the way the art style reflects the mood and the I had other words and they've left me. The way that they made certain art decisions to reflect the anxieties that the protagonist is feeling and the kind of monotony of the city versus the horror of the concentration camps. It's just so artfully done.
It's kind of
lack of a
interesting you
better
point
term.
out that sort of the evil guy is the protagonist too in some ways. I mean, it's his story
It's
up until the
true.
very end.
That's the big twist.
Yeah, that's kind of weird too.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of as you're reading it, you're assuming that he was a victim from the
Yeah.
concentration camps, and then that panel that no, he was in charge.
Yeah.
And but up until that
But
point,
he almost considers himself a victim. Like he talks about it as if he was like swept up in a wave, almost like it wasn't like his own doing.
Yeah.
yeah, and I assume that probably was part of what was going on in Germany at the time was people got swept up in sort of this
Oh yeah,
Nazi
absolutely.
fervor. The little guy with the mustache and
Yeah.
yeah. As he's I think he refers to him as the little guy with a little mustache, right?
Yeah.
Or something else.
Yeah.
Not and you get the sort of a sense of how the horror,
Yeah.
the experimentation on people and just the mass graves and the idea that they're not because you're Jewish or whatever different that you weren't worth keeping alive.
Yeah.
They had to eliminate you. The final solution or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
So
I
So this
thought
is the first comic story about the Holocaust, or rather, like the second one. The first one being like a story with Mickey Mouse, which is interesting.
really? Oh.
What?
I forgot about that. I didn't read it, but I heard of it.
How did Mickey Mouse handle the Holocaust?
Oh dear.
That's a good question. I didn't read the comic, but I imagine
Maybe we should make that.
probably. I imagine it's probably somewhat lighthearted compared to
Well, I
our
would
story
hope it
here.
wouldn't be too lighthearted. It is the Holocaust.
Oh dear.
What were you gonna say, Trevor?
I was gonna say about Master Race. I thought what the pacing, especially like those last couple pages, I thought was still very suspenseful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, we bought a book that it's included in, which I didn't make anybody else
Oh.
buy, but in there all the stories are like 8 pages long.
Yeah,
They're not very long stories.
because that was the style at the time.
Yeah. So you'd have a comic book with several stories in it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they were all short,
Uh,
and they can have twists in them and things like that.
Yeah.
Another really good one in that collection is the Flying Machine.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, we won't talk about that because no one else has read it. But yeah, that's a really good story. If you decide to buy the book, then you should read that one. It's good. But
Yeah. My book is Messages in a Bottle.
but it was like $35, or you can read it for free. So you went for the free option. So, but no, and did you guys watch the video at all of the guy talking about it?
I watched the video. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't yet. I'm sorry.
Wow. Lay it right at someone's feet. No, but that was kind of like it was very interesting how much he felt this was influential of people and how it sort of influenced Mouse,
Yeah.
which we did a thing about. Rachel and us did a thing.
Yeah. Remember that whole thing?
About that. Yeah, weren't they
was
banning it or
banned.
something?
Yeah.
Wasn't that
Yeah,
what we
the
did?
school district banned it from their library, and it resulted in like the book getting this renewed attention, which
Yeah.
I think it deserves very
Yeah,
much
no,
so.
Yeah, and I don't know why you'd ban it from the library. That's how you should
I
never
don't
ban
agree.
things.
I remember specifically buying Mouse when I was 13 from the Holocaust Museum, and my life was never quite the same.
It was, I mean, considering the characters are, mice, it's very moving, and you get sort of,
It is.
we're talking about a different book, but you get sort of the Holocaust versus this guy's personal relationship with his father. It was
Yeah.
very well done. It won a Pulitzer Prize, so it was sort of well received too.
Yeah.
But we did a thing because they were banning it from
Yeah.
libraries and red states.
If
Anyway,
the viewers at home wanna add to their Holocaust comics collection, I recommend picking up Mouse.
yeah, because everybody wants a big collection of Holocaust comics. And I guess there's a Mickey Mouse one out there. So there's 3.
Yeah, the very first one.
That's kind of weird. It's
That's crazy.
It's kind of weird to think like the first film that I think that dealt with the Nazis in America was a Three Stooges short.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't think of them as being political, but they did one of the first anti-Nazi. And I can't think of the name of it, but we reviewed it on the blog.
Yeah.
But I can't think of the name of it now. But yeah, Three Stooges. Kind of weird.
You reminded me. The artist I read is an illustrator and a painter by profession. He just made his money by doing comics, and the comic is often described as like very cinematic compared to its contemporaries. And I think it just goes to show the value of, if you're a comic artist, comic creator, the value of having a multidisciplinary inspiration / approach, like not just reading comics to learn about comics, watch movies, read books, play video games. Like, the more places of inspiration you can get your creative uses from, I think it'll make your comics all the stronger.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you can take away from it is that you shouldn't, be so confined to, these are the boxes that you put everything, and I think comics have sort of gotten outside, especially with some of the manga you read. They're way outside. There are no boxes anymore.
Right.
So panels, and they're
100%.
yeah, that kind of opens things up. So this was starting to open it, but it's been taken further.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I kind of want to say this one. Like, I'm looking over the pages again, and I'm looking at the cover for it right now.
Uh-huh.
And I also noticed like a bit of the foreshadowing with like the man about to fall on the tracks, where you can kind of point out
yeah.
like that the man falling on the tracks is like the enemy, because you know the whole thing about like your like Herman's the whole blonde hair, blue eyes thing. So
Yeah.
the more I'm looking at the guy, I'm like, wait a tick. Coloring is important.
Yeah, they don't really talk about. I assume he colored it too, because they don't talk about that. But it sounds like that somebody wrote it who I think was Al Feldstein, who was the editor at EC. And I assume he drew it and colored it, because they don't talk about anybody coloring stuff. So
What I read was that they allowed him this story with total creative freedom. So it could be that he wrote it and he at least penciled and inked it. I believe like these mainstream comics publishers back in the day had their own like colorist division, which are usually manned by women. Fun fact. But I'm not sure though.
But per the video that we saw, he talks about how he was handed the script and already boxed, and he cut it up.
Oh, I
move
see.
Things around, and he divided up the boxes and all that stuff. So he took what he was given and altered it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I assume that means that somebody else wrote it. And well, the thing I can find is that Al Feldstein was the editor at EC. So I'm giving him credit for writing it. They don't really ever give credits in there in the book or anything about who wrote anything.
It's kind of a shame.
Yeah, I'm sure if we were really into comics and really into EC, we would know all that stuff. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I just, I've never pretended to be an expert on comics, or comic books. All right. Any last words you want to pass on this?
Now I
Check
gotta
out the
read more comics.
description, which the Power Script House definitely remember to include.
What? Where to get it?
The comic, the link to the comic.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said it'd be there. It'll be there.
I was remembering in college I met a Holocaust survivor because we had to read his book, and I got to ask him questions, and I was reminded of what was asked because I was deleting a bunch of old emails.
Uh-huh.
And he was actually asked about Mouse, and he said from his experience, he thought Mouse was a little inaccurate,
Okay.
but he thought that comics were a powerful medium for telling that kind of story and making it more easily accessible.
I would assume if it's inaccurate, it may be the storyteller.
Probably.
Because, I mean, he's taking someone's telling you what happened to them, you're writing it down. They could be, fudging things here and there.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like this dad was quite the little, could get around everything that came up. But anyway, it's again a different book. But that's very interesting, though. Somebody that actually lived through it, I would imagine it'd be hard for him to read stuff about it. Because, I mean, he lived through it, and so he wouldn't want to think about that again, I wouldn't think. But he wrote a book about it. So it would be a hard. We're lucky that has not happened to any of us. All right.
I think that covers
it.
that.
Yeah, so we encourage you to read Master Race.
Yes.
And the link will be provided.
So for the next book club meeting, it was my turn to pick. I decided to give. I have like 3 potential options. I figured because of the stuff we have been reading, it would be good to read something lighter.
Okay.
So I have 3 options. I have a couple of these I think I brought up before.
Okay.
Tamamo-chan's a Fox. Way of the House Husband. And Yokohama Kadashi Kiko, or Yokohama Shopping Log.
And it's this thick. So
Oh boy.
it'd probably be one that we would read chapters in it or whatever, right?
It's one of those things where it's like 2 volumes in one.
Okay.
Ah, like a
And
2-for-1 deal.
So Julia's left us because she's so upset. I'm not reading any of those. Boop, I'm gone. I'm sure she's having technical difficulties.
I don't know if it's down to a choice, but my vote is obvious, and it's the one that I've read. I'm not picking it just because I've read it. I'm picking it because it's really good.
And it is.
The Way of the House Husband.
Okay.
That's a good one. That's
I
a
know
good one.
Paul's read it. Trevor, you read it?
Yes.
Okay.
The house.
I've yet to read it, but I've heard about it and the infamous anime.
I like the anime. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but
I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really even say anything about it. I just heard how how it was promoted that it was going to be animated, and people disappointed that they felt like they were taken out of it. So,
It was
but I
more
have
of
yet to
a-
see the thing.
From what little I saw, it's more of a motion comic.
We thought you were
Yeah.
so disgusted with the choices you cut out. I'm not reading those. And Julie's gone again.
In the
Uh-oh.
chat, Julia.
Yeah, she said she's having the
yeah.
internet's being weird.
And I have that one too.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Hey.
So
welcome back.
your choice would be
I'm down for either of them. Though I was trying to see. I too have the copy of The Way of the House Husband.
all right. So everybody has one. Jen.
Can I check the first one? I didn't really.
Oh, the first one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This one.
Mm-hmm.
And the name is
Mama.
Fox and Socks. Or whatever.
Tamama Chan's a fox.
I'll go with the house husband, but I'll read that on my own time.
I'll let you borrow my copy.
So is it?
All right.
Are we going with Way of the House Husband then?
Yes.
Heck yeah.
All right. So we'll figure out a time
Yeah.
sometime in July or August or whatever.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't take too long to read
Okay.
because it's a comedy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just
It's a nice, easy read.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know what other people have on their plates or whatever.
I believe this is also an Eisner Award winner.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yeah.
It deserves it.
Okay.
I think it was an Eisner Award for comedy.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
we can off camera set a time for the
Yeah.
next meeting, unless people are anxious to set it now.
We'll figure it out off camera.
Okay.
So, if you're watching this on YouTube later and you like this, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment below if you have any opinions about Master Race.
All right. So until next time, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
I'm Trevor Hankins.
I'm Rachel Wells.
I'm Julia Cannon.
And I'm Jen.
You've been on the air with Power Squared.